Good evening. I'm Dr. Matt Irvin, Principal of Webster Groves High School. Thanks for joining us tonight for our parent information meeting for the 2020-2021 school year. Just a point on our construction for this program tonight, we have taken the questions that were submitted to us and created a presentation around those questions. If there are any information or questions that we do not get to in our presentation tonight, please feel free to reach out to any of us listed here. And you can see here parents, if you look at the administrators' names, beyond their phone extension, there are listings of their alpha responsibilities within our school by last name. So just you're reaching out to the correct person. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to those folks. Jerry Collins is also listed on here. He's our activities director. He'll be on this program. Also, Ms. Gloria Perry, who is our new SSD coordinator. We will hear from Dr. Katina Lyles, who is the coordinator for several districts, who will be joining and sharing some information tonight as well. As you see, Mr. Dwight Kirks will be sharing some information here later on tonight as well. Again, below there, for more contact information, you do see our formula for reaching out to faculty, last name, period, first name at wgmail.org. So again, feel free to reach out for any questions. If you have questions around students' 504s, please reach out to their respective counselor. Again, tonight we built this around questions we received from folks, and just know that these are some of the topics we'll be speaking to. The virtual plan for the fall, block schedule we'll be converting to and using technology and Canvas, as well as student supports, in particular information for freshmen and information around athletics and activities. A few terms just to kind of make sure that we have some understanding of. Synchronous learning is learning that happens in real time. Teachers and students are interacting. Students could be interacting around a particular topic in a course. Live virtual instruction can be an aspect of synchronous learning. We'll be using Zoom as our video platform to work with students both in groups and individually. Asynchronous learning happens at any time. It's on demand, and it's a lot of what we did last spring. And students can be working independently on their own timeline, if you will. So what's different this year? We learned a lot from last spring, and so I'll speak kind of how things are a little bit different from last spring. One component certainly is we'll be using Canvas as our learning management system, and I'll speak very much about that shortly. But we'll be moving away from Google Classroom, and certainly there'll be some work to do to make sure our students and parents are well versed in that. We certainly are doing that work now with our faculty, but we will certainly provide resources to ensure that's something that's viable for all of us. We've had some time now this year, different from last spring, to have some professional development around virtual teaching and learning. And I know that in addition to Canvas, that work's happening now. Another difference would be grades will count in a way they were hold harmless last spring, which was a lot of the state went to that model and has given counsel from our Department of Elementary Secondary Education leadership. So certainly this year will be more start the school year off more traditional in assessment. More of our work will be synchronous this year. We would imagine over half our time will be live instruction in some respects, synchronous instruction, and work with our students to support them. We certainly want to respond to that need. Again, the schedule has gone to a 4x4 block, and I'll speak more about that in a moment. Certainly another recognition we have is our advanced courses. Students that signed up for advanced courses, honors, accelerated, AP, dual credit, will certainly have, expect to see some work be extended beyond the school day, and will be certainly the pace that will need to be part of the learning of those courses. And certainly I would say, thinking about our work from last year and how we want to be informed going forward, we want our work to be first and foremost human-centered and focused on students and helping them be successful. Secondly, skill-driven, thinking about skills that students can learn, analysis, critical thinking that can apply and transfer to many different settings. And then thirdly, certainly content-conscious, aware of Missouri Learning Standards, content intended to be taught in AP courses, et cetera. But certainly we don't want to do those things in expense of the other two. And I know our teachers have already begun thinking about what are the essentials for courses in an effort to marry all three of those things, but certainly be mindful of the hierarchy. So some things you can certainly expect from our staff this year, and in our support of our staff this year. Teachers will be developing all their learning experiences through Canvas while we're in the virtual setting and throughout part of the year in terms of communication. There will be more synchronous learning. Again, I spoke about it earlier, but using Zoom primarily for that. Live instruction will be recorded and posted into Canvas for later viewing time as a resource for review, etc. Teachers will certainly, as always, define their expectations of participation and tasks in their course, and then provide meaningful feedback to students. Again, things that good teachers certainly are always doing, but this format will change. Our schedule for all students at the start of the school year, both students that have chosen the virtual academy and families that have chosen the responsive plan, which will be in the virtual phase at the start of the school year. Note it's the same each and every day of the week. Classes will begin instruction 8:25 and go till 9:50, and there will be a combination of live instruction and some asynchronous learning. So some teachers may use that time to check in at the start of the hour, give students some tasks, check back in later, be available for responses in between, or they may do fully live instruction and students will work independently on the latter half of the class. So it'll definitely look different based on the teacher, the course, their grade level, etc. So lots of variability in there. We wanted to give teachers and students flexibility on what learning might look like for a particular course. Live instruction may be longer in some courses, particularly more advanced courses. Learning support's a period that will follow, where teachers can be a resource for students. Second block will follow, then a lunch break that will be observed, and then a third hour will follow, and then a learning support period will follow third hour, and then again, our last period of our day will be our fourth block that will conclude at 3:25. So that will be the school day. Students should be in attendance throughout the day, and another difference from last spring is the more synchronous, more connected learning we hope to foster this school year. We will be using Canvas as our learning platform to replace Google Classroom. And we feel like it's going to provide a great workflow management system, allow us to provide feedback to students, and also be a uniform communication system. So we feel like it's a tool that connects a lot of the dots for us. And so think of Canvas as a place where learning happens. The instruction video, kids will maybe uploading videos and maybe commenting on a blog that a teacher has written or a student has produced. It could be embedded assessments in there. So there's lots of different ways teachers can utilize Canvas, and the learning takes place there. SIS will still maintain Tyler SIS, and SIS is where the record of all that learning will take place. So, and they work well together was another reason we liked going to Canvas. We started with Canvas over a year ago now, but we piloted its use in several classes in the spring of 2020. All summer courses used it last summer, and our teachers have all been trained this summer as well, and they'll get additional training when we get back to school. So we really feel like it will, again, our first time using it, certainly will be some learning going on with it across the building, but we do feel like it will be an outstanding tool that we will certainly make good use of, and we will have training for our students and parents. Parents are termed as observers in Canvas, but we certainly will have some resources available so that everyone can become adept at using it. And Canvas also has a mobile app that you may want to make use of as well. And we'll have more information coming out on the training coming up. Again, the 4x4 block schedule that we're going to this year, it will be our schedule all year regardless of our setting, whether we're in virtual, whether we're in hybrid model, or whether we're fully in person. We will use a 4x4 block for the entirety of the school year. Students will take 4 classes at one time, and the classes could last a quarter or an entire semester. Year-long courses will be taught in a semester term, and then semester courses will convert to a quarter. Classes will be 85 to 94, 96 minutes long, depending on which setting we're in, but they're going to be, nominally 90 minutes each day for each course. So some of the reasons we chose this, we're kind of on a path to begin looking at scheduling options in the 21-22 school year, but we've accelerated that work this year based on circumstances. And looking at our spring and talking to other schools that use block scheduling, we found a lot of the conversations centered around the stress load for students and for teachers. The idea of managing 4 classes instead of 7 or 6, depending on what student schedules are. So that was very appealing to us, as well as we felt like it was malleable to whatever of those 3 settings we may land in, that we felt like it would be serviceable. And all those, we did have to shift a little bit when we moved from in-person to virtual last spring because of our drop schedule and how that played out. We just wanted to find something that was more adaptable. We do feel like also this will provide us, because of not having to spread out our resources to support 7 different classes at a time. We only had to support 4 courses. We felt we could really channel our supports for kids. And then also, instead of changing classes so frequently, either in person or virtually, they would have a longer time to really invest in a coursework and the study and the partnership with teachers and their learning. So we felt that was an advantage. And also, in the case we're back in person, we felt like it would give us more stable groups and potential contact tracing benefit for in-person work. So here's just 2 quick examples of potential schedules, and knowing in the high school there's innumerable variables, but within those blocks you can see for this student would be maybe a virtual academy student that, each semester they would be in the, let's say, first semester they're in the virtual academy. They might have world literature first block, algebra 2 second block, lifetime fitness for the first quarter, health for the second quarter, and then band in the 4th block of the day. And then those classes would change in the second semester. So students are managing, they would not have these courses at the same time. So lifetime fitness would complete, and then health would begin at the quarter break. So that would allow students to have, again, 4 classes to manage at a time, and to really concentrate their studies. Again, another sample here, and this is just one more variable we put in here too, is the idea of potential of an early release for a student, or it could be a late start depending on the needs of the family or student. But just things we can do to allow for to make the building population smaller. So just different ways we can use that, since we've added essentially an 8th class for students, especially our students that are in the twilight of their time here at Webster High School. That may allow more flexibility. Attendance. Students are required to participate in scheduled live instruction K-12 across the district. We certainly expect this to be interactive and collaborative. We know that our teachers are relying on students to be in that setting to craft their work and their conversations and their instruction around having students there and being a viable part of that work. Those sessions will be recorded and posted, but we know that's really there for reviewing those materials before assessments, or reviewing those materials in preparation of what's down the road. And just knowing that sometimes there are things where students do miss school, and they've missed school when we're in person. And so we want to make sure we have that resource available for those times where students are not available, the periodic times or episodic times when that does occur. But we want to do our best to make sure that everyone understands that time is really critically important, and we need that chance for students to be there to view that live instruction. And again, that the students are expected to complete those assignments to move forward in those courses, and that we really want to make sure we have evidence that kids are ready for that next course and are ready for what's next in their work. So again, our schedule work and timeline, there's some questions we had around this as well. Schedules or master schedule in a high school, because there's so much variability in teacher certification and dual credit certification and AP training, there's again, innumerable variables in there. So it's incredibly challenged, but it's no more so than this year. We have under 20%, but a significant number of our students who are going to be in the virtual academy, and we're trying to meet their needs in that setting. And still, we built the original schedule around our 7-period drop schedule. So we're working to make sure we match up on those schedules. So we did, again, the second bullet point. We built the 4x4 schedule off the 7-period model, took what kids had originally scheduled for, and tried to, and then shoehorn the virtual academy piece in there with it and staff that. We do know that students now have an 8th class. So counselors are looking to fill some of those courses, and then we'll consult with students once we get started with our school year, just think about how we might be wiser about doing that in partnership with our families and students to create schedules that make the most sense. Our staffing, knowing that we were going to do everything we can to try and provide Webster Groves High School staff with our students. We do have some other components that might work to fill in some gaps, and we've used Launch before, which is a Canvas program, but it's from Springfield, Missouri School District. We've used that for over a year now, and that is one option. We've also just purchased a new virtual platform called Edgenuity, which has also some additional course offerings. It's a little bit different in its structure than Launch, but that's another tool we can use to try and meet needs of students and scheduling. So just know that our counselors are working diligently to try and, this is usually a 3-month process. We really try to condense it as much as we can and building off our previous work. And we plan to share the schedules via SAS portal by the 14th of August. If that is to change, we will certainly get that information out to families as soon as we can on what the schedules might look like for the fall. But again, our anticipation is we'll be able to share those via Tyler SIS portal on the 14th of August. So I'll go ahead and thank everyone for being a part of this presentation. Again, I shared that content information in the beginning. If you'd like to reach out to any of us or your child's counselor, feel free to do so. So those questions, we'll get any questions we get from here on out regarding this. If we see overlap and or gaps, we will compile those and put a blast out on communication to folks and make sure that we are getting that information and responding to you either individually or collectively. We will have some additional information that follows mine. We will have some information on student supports from Dr. Katina Lyles. We'll have some information on particularly for freshmen from Mr. Kirksey, one of our APs here at the high school. And then Mr. Jerry Collins, who's our activities director, will speak to both athletics and activities. And I certainly appreciate everyone's kind of support and understanding of all the work that is in front of us. That we have a collective goal. We want to have a great school year for your children, and we are going to do our level best to ensure that happens. It may look different than some of us had envisioned some time ago, but I'm very optimistic about our school community, our teachers, and the work that we can do together. So appreciate everyone's time this evening, and we'll hear from those additional speakers. Thank you.
Good evening, Webster Groves High School community. I am Dr. Katina Lyles, the Director of Special Education for the Webster Groves School District. And I've been asked to share briefly about special education as we prepare for the start of school this fall. Special education services will be provided for students with individual education plans or IEPs. Special education case managers will begin contacting parents upon their return after August 12th. We expect case managers to make initial contact with all parents as soon as possible, but prior to the first day of school. Special educators will provide services virtually using the same platform as Webster Groves High School, Canvas. What will special education look like? Special education services will be scheduled and outlined via a distance learning plan or DLP. A DLP will include live virtual lessons, learning activities, and proposed schedules based on a student's individual education plan or IEP. This plan will be written by the student's case manager in partnership with the IEP team members. For students in Virtual Academy, services will be provided virtually for the time that they are participants. For additional information on provisions for special education, I would like to refer you to SSD's webpage on Return to School Guidance, linked here in this slide. You may also reach out directly to the Special Education Administrator for Webster Groves High School, Gloria Perry. Her contact information is included in a future slide. Thank you for your time, and please continue to be safe.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dwight Kirksey, Assistant Principal for Students, last names S through Z. Our incoming ninth graders are important to us, and we want to provide the best experience possible for them as they move into their freshman year. While our onboarding activities will be virtual and look different than previous years, we have some items that will support their transition into Webster Groves High School. Starting with our Future Leaders Program, which will be held August 19th. This will occur virtually. We have a PACER team composed of student leaders who will be creating a virtual presentation consisting of a welcome, introduction information of the school, core values, school spirit, as well as helpful tips for success from a student standpoint. We will also be looking at a future date to bring our ninth grade students on campus in small groups for community building and connection activities. We will also be sending out a freshman-related FAQ early next week that will go to all freshman parents and students that will provide additional answers to questions we were not able to cover tonight. We ask that families continue to look for communication as it relates to our building to stay updated on all information as we navigate the start of the school year. Finally, our team is dedicated to creating a positive transition for our ninth grade students, and we will work together with families to support them in any manner possible. Thank you for your time. I look forward to meeting all of you.
Hello, my name is Jerry Collins. I'm the Activities Director at Webster Groves High School. I know many of you are wondering what our plans are for our fall sports season. The official start date for the Misha Fall Sports season is next Monday, August 10th. However, at this time, we, along with the other schools in the Suburban Conference, are still working towards making the decision if our teams will be able to start the season on Monday. As soon as that decision is made, we will be sure to share it out, and the coaches will communicate information to their teams. Any students who are interested in playing a fall sport should contact the head coach of that sport so that they can communicate information to you as it becomes available. If you've already been in contact with that coach over the summer, then you don't need to do so again. However, if you need to let the coach know to share information with you, please do so. The link here at the bottom of this page will show you all of the head coaches for our fall sports and their email addresses. Thank you.